Good evening. I hereby call this evening Nacogdoches ISD's Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that a quorum is present and notice of this meeting was posted as required by Texas Open Meeting Act. Reverend Callie Pitcock is not in attendance, however, we expect to arrive anytime. Please remember that the items do not have to be taken in order as it has been listed. Thank you for joining us today. At this time, we are in the public comment portion of our meeting, and there is no request to address the board. However, if anyone would like to comment in the future meetings, the instructions on how to sign are on the meeting notice. Now, executive closed session. The board will now conduct an executive closed session to discuss items posted on our agendas pursuant to the following provisions of Texas Open Meeting Act and allowed by Texas Government Code sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.129. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as the result of discussions in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes into open session. The time is now 12:01. Okay. Good afternoon. The board is now reconvening into open sessions, and time is 12:58. Please remember, the items on that listed is not going to be on the order, and thank you for joining us, and please turn your cell phone to silent mode. This portion of our meeting is action agenda. We have 2 items on the discussion and action agenda. First, consideration of superintendent's recommendations regarding employment and contract status of classroom teachers and other non-administrative professional personnel, including renewal, non-renewal, and termination. Mr. Harold Whitaker, Assistant Superintendent, would be the person to...
And that's been presented to the board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. At this time, I'll seek motion.
I move the board accept superintendent's recommendation to terminate the probationary contract of employees Richard Villanueva and Donald Blanchard at the end of the contract term in the best interest of the district. I further move to direct the superintendent to provide written notice of the board's action in accordance with policy and law.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Winslow. I need a second.
Second?
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Ms. Anderson, have you documented that?
I got that.
Okay. Okay. Next is Board of Trustees election.
Well, we have a second motion.
Okay.
The other motion.
I move the board accept the superintendent's recommendation and propose non-renewal of the term contracts of professional employees Trudy McCarthy and direct the superintendent to provide written notice of the board's proposed action in accordance with policy and law.
Reverend Pitcock make a motion. Second.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Ms. Anderson, you have documented that, right? Okay. Now, the Board of Trustees election. This is administration of oaths of office for the elected trustees. Ms. Henderson will now administer oath of office for each elected candidate at the podium in the following order. District 4, Dr. T.C. Groman. And next would be Ms. Mindy Dean Winslow, District 5.
Did we all go into session?
Then we have to, after this.
Yeah.
I, T.C. Groman, do solemnly affirm
I, T.C. Groman, do solemnly,
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of trustee District 4 of
of trustee of District 4 of
the Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees
the Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees
of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, Dr. Groman.
I, Mindy Beam Winslow, do solemnly affirm
I, Nancy Green Winslow, do solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of trustee District 5
of trustee District 5
of the Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees
of the Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees
of the state of
of
Texas,
the state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dr. Groman and Ms. Winslow, I have signed the certificate of election, and we are now officials. Congratulations and welcome back. Okay. Once again, at this time, the board will conduct an executive closed session to discuss items posted on our agenda pursuant to the following provision of Texas Open Meeting Act and allowed by Texas Government Code Sections 551.074 and 551.129. Again, no voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as the result of discussions in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes into an open session. And now, again, is 1:04.
Our exercise.
The board is now reconvening into open session, and time is 11:14. Just say 1:14. Okay. I wish it was 11. Okay. We will now conduct board officers elections for year 2024-2025. Nominations do not have to be seconded. The board now, the floor is open for nomination for the board president.
President Fosh, I nominate President Fosh to be our president.
Okay? Are there any further nominations for the president position? All in favor of Farshid Niruman to be the board president, indicate by your hands. Okay. 4. I guess I have to announce that I, Farshid Niruman, am the board president. So, well, good thing about it, I don't have to change seat.
Yeah.
Now, the floor is open for nomination for vice president. And I'll take the nomination.
President Fosh, I nominate Reverend Irwin as vice president.
Okay, Mr. Reverend Irwin is nominated for vice president. Are there any further nominees or nominations for vice president?
I'd like to nominate Dr. Bowman to continue as vice president.
Okay, since we don't have two nominees, and the first nominees, all in favor of Reverend Irwin, indicate by raising your hands. Okay. Majority is with Reverend Irwin.
Congratulations.
So Reverend Irwin is vice president-elect. Now, the floor is open for nomination for the secretary of the board.
President, I nominate Elizabeth App for secretary.
Okay, are there any further nomination for board secretary? If it's not, nomination is closed, and Ms. Apt, you are elected secretary. Congratulations. Okay, now we are official, and we move in. Nobody, I guess, in this place except Reverend Irwin. Next order of business is budget workshop conducted by Mrs. Lisa Barbrick, Chief Financial Officer.
Good afternoon, President Niruman, board members, Dr. Trujillo. So you have some printouts in front of you. They were handed out before the board meeting. And the first sheet is the 24-25 projected budget. And what you see here is just the general fund and a projection of what our revenues will be it's looking at around $63.3 million. And expenditures, I've broken it down just by major category here. Payroll is projected to be $50.9 million at about 80% of our budget. Campus allocations at $2.4 million. Instructional departments, $1.1 million, and operational expenses, $3.4 million. And then I break it down just by major categories of operational expenses. Property and casualty insurance, $1.2 million. Utilities, almost $2.3 million. The Central Appraisal District, $730,000. Debt service, this is our Q-SCAB debt, and this next year will be the final payment on that debt, $462,150, and then construction and facility acquisitions, $500,000, for a balanced budget of $63.3 million. On the next page are some budget assumptions that I used for building this budget. The tax rate is just the same as prior year. We don't know yet what our real tax rate will be until the TEA determines that. So in the meantime, we're using .7597 for M&O, and for the debt service, 38 cents. That is the same as prior year, and if we use that rate, we'll have to have another tax defeasance brought before the board to bring our debt down, which saves us money in the long run and keeps our tax rate stable. Bus drivers were given a minimum pay increase from $16.32 to $20, and of course, that causes a domino effect across all bus drivers. And then all other employees were giving a 2% raise. We had 34 ESSER positions. Of those 34 positions, 20 are currently vacant. But of course, all 34 are going away, but 11 positions were kept and moved to new funding sources. We added 5 police officers and a webmaster. Do you have any questions on this portion before I pass it off to?
I have a question.
Okay.
For the bus drivers, those experienced and non-experienced or the new one are all going to get $20? Is that-
No, it will be a domino effect
Okay.
across the board.
Very good.
Coach Rashid, if you're at $16.32 and we're raising the minimum from $16.32 to $20,
Yes.
that percentage of increase
2%.
that we have, which is greater than 2%,
Right.
it's, will go across the board. So we may have bus drivers that are making $27 an hour right now. So whatever that percentage increase would go up. So we're not penalizing the veteran drivers, but we're also bringing up to a very competitive salary with our drivers, with lifting that up. And that's to try to address our transportation concerns that we have. Anything you want to add? I know, Mr. Harold, you work with transportation.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Trujillo, President Nirman. I think just looking at the numbers and looking at what we're trying to do is trying to increase that rate. There's been ongoing issues and conversations when collaborating with our principals and other support staff of getting our kids to school on time, and the deficit of the number of drivers that we have within the current department, ways to trying to recruit more drivers. There are other things that we're looking at as well, but in hopes that this will allow us to be able to get more drivers in to fill the void of the deficit of not having enough to meet the needs of instructional time and getting kids, and the attendance issue of getting kids to school on time and being present each and every day.
Thank you.
I had to, are we through?
Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have approximately 20 vacancies, 11 positions were kept. All of our ESSER positions were kept, is that it, and just moved to other funding? 34 were, or, well, I don't know how to read this, I'm sorry.
We have 20 vacancies that were never filled.
Oh,
No matter
okay.
how many times we posted it, we got
They
it,
never-
they just, so instead of carrying those vacancies over and trying to fill those were ESSER anyway.
Okay.
Those have gone away because they were slotted for ESSER.
Okay.
Of those 11 positions that were ESSER funded and were deemed to be necessary for the movement have been kept, but those
Good.
funding mechanisms may be, some have maybe switched over to title, others are going into the regular fund, but 11 positions, right, is what we kept?
Right, 11 positions were kept, and now, I mean, of course, it doesn't add up, 20 and 11, because some positions, some employees, ESSER employees, just, I'm trying to think of an example, but they left that ESSER position and went to a totally different position.
Yeah, so a change. Okay, so then my other question for clarification is, the 5 police officers and the webmaster is still open? That's still a vacancy, or?
Well, no, I don't think all of the police officers are vacant anymore.
Okay, good. And do we have a
But the
webmaster?
webmaster, no.
We do not have a webmaster yet. Okay, that's fine.
Clarification with regards, President Fashid, the 5 police officers in the long range, and Mr. Tarver might be able to speak to this, there are funding mechanisms from the state, so we are funding currently the police department through local funds. even though it's mandated from the state. So we are funding that. However, Mr. Tarvin is looking for funding mechanisms and resources out there that can probably address it and pay for our police officers. So the police force that we have, now, if and when that comes across, that budget source would come in, then we can shift that over, funding mechanism over there, and it would free up the funding that's there. Anything you'd like to add to that, Mr. Tarvin?
Well, we're in the process of applying for the Safe Cycle 2 grant, which is about $212,000, and all of that can be used towards police officers. And so that's what we have decided to do with that. Plus, we have our safety allocation money from the state that we get every year, and we use some of that to help pay for the police officers as well. So we're always looking for something.
And that would be a one-year funding cycle.
Yes, sir.
So we would have to reapply in the future if that winds up going, if that grant were to continue to happen.
Yes, sir. We're hoping that they'll continue to offer different funding sources like that and grants. Right now, it's just a one-time shot.
Any more questions? Okay. If not, this portion of our meeting, we will discuss items from the consent agenda. No action will be taken on these items. Board minutes. Anybody has any questions concerning board minutes in the past? If not, business office report. Once again, Ms. Liza Barbrick, Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you. So, the budget amendments can be found on page 18. I have the wrong thing open. Can I borrow yours? All right.
I believe it's
Page,
37.
I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong page.
37?
It is on page, where? Is that how I see the page numbers? I'm trying to give it the page number. Okay. All right. Page 42.
42.
Excuse me. All right. The first amendment is increase the police department salary budget for the new officers hired and their increase in pay. So we're adding $62,000 to Function 52, Security, and taking $60,000 from Function 11 and Function 21, 2000. Item B, increase general administration budget for CFO training. We're adding $20,000 to Function 41 and decreasing Function 11 by $5,000, Function 13 by $4,000, Function 23 by $6,000, and Function 31 by $5,000. So taking it from various sources. This will prepare for the new position coming in. New person, not new position. Item C, reallocate funds between local and state revenues. This is just a swap between state and local of $6.4 million from state funds into local funds. I'm sorry, from local funds to state funds. How do I get to the next page? Okay. All right. Next, I'd like to... All right. Next, I'd like to discuss the investment report. And you can find that on page 47. This past month, we earned $244,882 in investments. That's about what we've been consistently earning every month. Any questions on the investments?
Do we have donations under 2,500?
Yes. Oh, actually, we wish to withdraw that. There were no donations.
Miscellaneous?
If you have any questions on my other miscellaneous reports, I'll take those now.
I don't. Does anyone? Okay. Now, next is purchase of over 50,000. Just commercial kitchen, I guess.
All right, you'll find that on page 82. This is for we had an RP that went out for the replacement of the serving lines at Regay Elementary. The budget impact was $108,869, and we are recommending that Commercial Kitchens is chosen to replace the serving line at Regay.
Okay. Folks, any questions? If not, Ingram Technologies LLC.
Good afternoon, President Nerman, members of the board, Dr. Trujillo. The administration is recommending that the board approve the purchase of 15 Panasonic Toughbooks from Ingram Technology. The Toughbook devices will assist in the implementation of our new record management software called Spillman. As we transition to a department from 8 to 14 members. These Toughbooks will allow our officers to access information enhancing the safety and productivity of those officers that are out in the field. The amount is $52,500 to be taken from Title IV funding, federal funds, and we would be happy to answer any questions the board may have about this.
Anybody has any questions?
These run Windows, right? The operating system is Windows?
I am
It
not
says
sure,
Windows
Dr.
11.
Windows 11.
It says so.
Okay. Next one, we have Imagine Learning LLC in Unity. Dr. Hale.
Thank you, President Nerman. Good afternoon, board members, Superintendent Trujillo. This is found on page 86 of your board book. We just have had a name change this year to Imagine Learning. It has been Edgenuity. That's been our online learning platform that both Margie Chumley as well as NHS students have used to acquire their course credits. This is a 3-year quote that you have in front of you. The biggest change from the last few years is that this year they're requiring 50% down of the entire amount for the first year, and then it will be in equal disbursements of 25%. So that's why you see the big amount this year. I will let you know that from the previous years, this is a 10%, there was an additional 10% increase than the last few years that we've used it. Does that make sense? I guess just due to inflation.
Yeah.
But
But the actual program and everything is really what we've known with Edgenuity.
yes, ma'am, it is the exact same. It does also come with some professional development.
Okay. Folks, you have any questions? Okay, next is Ledwell. Presenter is Dr. Kimberly Welsh, Assistant Superintendent.
Yes, thank you, President Nerman, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Trio. This is an addition, it's replacing actually what we had previously done in a previous board meeting where we ordered from Cornerstone for the same amount, well, for approximately the same amount. And it is for furniture for the classroom. It's the student classroom furniture that provides improved student engagement, confidence in learning, health, and collaboration with peers through the intentional selection of pieces that support and encourage student-centered learning. This is for all of our campuses except for Fredonia and Carpenter. And Cornerstone could not ensure that the furniture would be here in time, so that has been canceled, and we have gone with this company, Ledwell, that has assured that it will be here in time for us to put them in the classrooms. And so we are asking that the board approve the purchase of furniture in the amount of $565,171.86 from Ledwell for student classroom furniture for schools.
I am assuming some of those furnitures need to be reassembled, correct?
It's my understanding that they will come and they will do that on site, and that's the reason why we had chosen Cornerstone originally and why we're choosing this one, is they come and assemble the furniture for us.
Great. Thank you.
President Fashid, that amount had already been previously approved by this board. The only thing is a request of changing the vendor. If we would have just left it open, then we would not have to come back to the board, we would have just spent it. But because there is a name of a vendor change, we want to make sure the board knows that the same amount that was approved previously is just going to go to a different vendor rather than the one we had. So that's-
The one thing I wanted to say here is, when if we ever face any other type of sanitation problems like we had previously under the COVID, when we have these new pieces of furniture, they're going to be a lot easier to sanitize, and that brings safety to our teachers and to our students for all this that we're replacing. So I think this is a wise and sanitary way to handle potential problems in the future.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next is Larry's Interiors. Mr. Tarvin, Assistant Superintendent.
Thank you, President Edelman, board members, Superintendent Trujillo. This is a request for purchase of flooring for the Reggae Gym. Currently, the Reggae Gym is solid concrete. It is the old, my understanding is it used to be outdoor concrete, then they put the building on it. They just haven't done anything to the floor for it. We have had some safety issues with that and some injuries, so we're requesting the purchase of this new flooring and striping.
It says,
Is this like any other place we have, similar like at BQJ, where they have some kind of surface on the...
Mr. Tarvin.
And it's got markings?
This is not your answer. This would be Mr. LaRue. Can you step up to the microphone? I just didn't want Mr. Tarvin to answer that question because he would not be able to tell us that answer. He was going to try.
Wait to see what he's going to say. Actually, no, it's not like what we have, and all the other gym floors are wooden gym floors. We have two properties that are in this situation. Fredonia, which was recovered when we redid the building for pre-K. And now we're finally getting to Reggae to redo it. It won't support a wooden floor because of the old cement floor. There's not a vapor barrier, but this product is the same thing we put down at Fredonia.
that's shock absorbent, right?
Yes. Cushioned.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. LaRue.
Certainly.
Thank you, Mr. Tarvin, for allowing him to come up and speak for you.
Thank you, Ralph.
Okay, next item is consideration of Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District Resolution for number 2024-01. Mr. Michael Martin.
Thank you, President Norman, members of the board, Dr. Trujillo. This Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District is proposing to renovate its flooded, damaged existing space located at 216 West Hospital Street. In order to do so, the Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District must obtain approval by the governing bodies of 3/4 of the taxing units. The administration is recommending that the board approve the resolution for the Nacogdoches County Appraisal District.
Board, do y'all have any question? If not, we move to the next, item E.
Mr. Bashir, before you leave that section there, I'd like to say a big thank you to the city for reaching out to the school district and allowing us to entertain an opportunity to partner with them. And this is a great partnership for Nacogdoches ISD along with the city to provide a service. And our taxpayers, the burden that the taxpayers would have if they had to find a place for it. This is an empty building that's sitting there right now. It allows us to provide the support that we have. Also, I want to recognize the efforts that we have two board members that are here that serve on that committee. Reverend, you're on that committee as well. And I believe
Mindy,
Secretary. And Ms. Matoya, you've served on that committee in the past. So this board is very active, and to our community, I want to publicly say thank you for our board members that serve on that board. but also a great big thank you for the city to come in and partner up with the school district to allow us this opportunity to work with them. So with that being said, Coach, President Pachi, thank you.
I'm still coach. Okay, next item is consideration of lease agreement with the Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District. Mr. Michael Martin.
Thank you, President Norman. The Board of Directors of the Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District has determined that renovating the existing appraisal office located at 216 West Hospital Street, Nacogdoches, Texas, is the most beneficial option for the taxpayers and taxing units of Nacogdoches County. To ensure uninterrupted operations during the renovation of their current location, administration proposes leasing real property at 420 South Shawnee Street, that would be this location we're currently sitting in. This temporary accommodation will enable the Nacogdoches County Appraisal District to carry out renovations on the existing building, ensuring the efficient establishment and operations of the appraisal office. The administration is recommending that the board approve the lease agreement with the Nacogdoches Central Appraisal District.
Any estimated time, how long they will be, or?
Well, our initial agreement is for 6 months. However, we understand that the renovation may go a little longer than that.
Okay. They have a lot of stuff to move, I'll tell you that. Okay, next is consideration of audit engagement letter with the Crow LLP for a fiscal year ending June 30th of 2024. Again, Ms. Lisa Barbrick.
Hopefully, I believe I have my act together. This engagement letter, all we are doing here, well, in January, you approved an engagement letter between Belt Harris and Pahacek LLP. Well, since that time, they were bought out by Crow LLP. So all that's happening here is engaging between Crow LLP. There are no change in fees and no change in the team that will be coming. So all we are doing is just bringing a change of name.
Okay. Board, we all are informed? Okay, next we go to discussion and action agenda. We have 5 items on discussion and action portion of agenda today. First is consideration of the 2024-2025 compensation plan, and it would be presented by Mr. Harold Whitaker.
Good afternoon again, President Neermon, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Trujillo. Before you have passed out a draft version of an excerpt of the stipend portion of the compensation plan, and so we have to have the fully revised compensation plan for you on Thursday night's board meeting. But just today, we have an excerpt of some changes that we've made thus far on some of the stipends that we have currently in the district. So if you can, I can draw your attention to page 12 of that supplemental excerpt page. As you will see, the UIL campus level stipends. And in that portion, we have structured through on the UIL events, capping it at 2 events. Theoretically, I think it's been kind of a standard that's been in the books for so long of kind of having paying up to 2 events. But in collaboration, working with Mr. Johnson, the Director of Fine Arts, and Ms. Thomas, the kind of UIL coordinator, we're learning that as our UIL teams have advanced to regionals and making those state opportunities, a lot of teachers, a lot of those sponsors is very limited as to who wants to give their time, right, to be able to devote to working with these different areas of UIL academics. And so in working with them, we just eliminated the wording of 2 events and capping that kind of per se at 2 events, but allowing that for additional per event of the $250 per event. And so that allows, let's say, one sponsor to, as they're doing currently, multiple events, sometimes 4 or sometimes 5 activities to help those students excel in those areas that they are overseeing. And of course, the addition of the UIL assistant coordinator, that's kind of something that's been currently going on, so we want to make sure that was embedded inside the plan as well, to have that assistant UIL sponsor there at the high school.
Good.
Ms. Happ, you have any comments?
No, hey, hallelujah, amen.
And then on page 13, on the academic and professional stipends, That is a strike-through of that stipend of the campus webmaster, in which those campuses would have somebody kind of help do those duties. As mentioned by Ms. Barber in the budget workshop, the addition of adding a current campus district-level webmaster to be able to handle those duties, those duties on the campus level would no longer be needed. As well as you see there, the STEM Academy, the STEM coordinator, that person is responsible for kind of helping, and chime in, Dr. Hill, if you need to, kind of a liaison between the high school as well as the university and our partnership in making sure that those students transition well, and all the efforts and coordinating those efforts between the university and ourselves in that partnership with the STEM Academy. And for all the work they're doing.
That person, liaison, is there one of the so-called school teachers?
Yes, sir. And last, police officer addition, as we talk about wanting to increase our police force, is the need for a K-9 handler certification. It's adding that to the certification areas in the area of police department. And so that person will be responsible for obviously taking care of the K-9 and all the responsibilities and all the things that go along with that. And so we wanted to make sure that that was in there.
Have we acquired K-9 as of now, or do we have a K-9 currently?
I'll pass that to Chief Barton.
And if we have, what's her name or his name?
So yes, we currently have one. Her name is Coda. All I'm waiting for is to send my handler through the proper training. And
Yes.
by next school year, she'll be
Ready to go.
She'll be ready to go.
CODA.
Thank you. What kind of training that she would be receiving?
The K-9 is already trained. She's been trained for like 2 years. And
Is it-
so it's the handler that's going to have to learn.
Human.
Right.
The human.
Okay, what I'm asking, I guess I'm going a little further. Some of the K-9s go for explosives, some goes for
Correct. It's
drugs.
going to be narcotics.
Narcotics, okay, that's what I'm...
Thank you, Chief. And at this time, this is all the stipends that, all the changes that we have currently at the moment. Again, any other things, any other areas will be, have a copy for you all on Thursday night's board meeting. And if you don't mind, that after today's board meeting, we will take these up, and then we'll have a new draft copy for you all on Thursday night.
Okay? Right here.
That's totally fine. Thank you all.
Okay. Next item is the first reading of local policy EIE, Academic Achievement, Retention, and Promotion. Dr. Kimberly Wells.
Yes, if I can direct your attention to pages 109, 110, this is just an effort to clean up and to make all of our grades to be standard in grades 1 through 8 for the promotion and academic achievement, retention, and promotion. As you can see in the red, the areas that are struck through. One, we are taking out the compliant piece of testing for levels within students and then reporting it on the report card, because we're just taking that out. And we have reading and language arts listed both in the wording, and so we are taking out the term reading and just leaving language arts with the understanding that language arts encompasses reading. So instead of having it broken down into each grade level, we are having the grades 1 through 8, and so the only changes in that bottom, they're taking out the 6 through 8, so grades 1 through 8, promotion to the next grade level will be based on the overall average of the 70. And we believe with this change, it will enable us to have a stronger core curriculum and help us tighten up our English language arts curriculum.
I have a question.
Yes,
just for
sir.
personal knowledge. What constitutes retention, and does a parent's consent is required?
Parents can request for their child to be retained in grades K and 1, to my understanding. Is that K and 1? And then, and they're able to request it. We are to sit down and to have a conversation with them of what this looks like for their child when we think of long-term. But it still has to go through a committee. But they still have the right to make that request and to ask for it, and then we would mostly have to honor that. And then prior to this, the third reading, when we do this, the students were retained if they fell 2 or more reading levels behind in reading. And so we are taking that out in order to not have that, determining, yes, their summer learning and their retention for the following year.
Glad to hear that.
Yes, and well, and I guess, and back to your question, if we believe that a student needs to be retained, they would still be asked to be invited to go to summer learning. We have a program just for that. And then, based upon their attendance and their success in summer learning, then the committee would decide whether or not they would be promoted or be retained in that grade level.
So,
Go ahead.
so if a student is 2 or 3 grade levels below in their reading, but they're still passing with the 70, then they could be promoted?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
If they are retained and the parents are upset and they ask, then what kind of course of action we have?
A course of action is always a committee. It's a committee decision. They have the opportunity, again, to go to summer learning, but then they have the opportunity, and we have other avenues in order to accelerate learning for students. We have accelerated learning, we have small group pull-out, we have intensive reading instruction throughout the day. So we have other avenues to assist students with bringing up their reading levels as opposed to retention.
I'm glad to hear that, because I don't want to go to the next level, become totally discouraged and...
More and more.
And they do have a grievance process that they can go to if they are not satisfied with our decision.
Thank you. Okay. Next is the first reading of revised policy FDB, admission, instructions, transfer, and classroom assignment, inter-district assignments.
Yes, sir.
Mr.
Good
Talbot,
afternoon
I'm sorry.
again. We're asking that we make a change to local policy FDB. If you'll notice, in the policy itself is change of residence. When a student is attending a campus and they move to a different attendance zone, we're asking that they be allowed to stay at the campus that they started at least through the semester.
Okay.
They would also then have the right to file for a transfer request as well. It just gives them some additional time. Currently, under this policy, what would happen is they would be given to the end of the grading period, which would be the end of the 6 weeks. So, but they could move and then within 1 or 2 days have to go to another school. And so this gives them some additional time to make any type of transition that would happen or may happen much smoother.
Do we know how many students this would affect?
I'm sorry?
Do we know how many students that this
No,
would
sir, we
affect?
don't. It just depends on how many move during the regular school year out of that attendance zone.
You use the word "have to," so who has the brunt of the choice here? Like, parents go, "We've moved, and we'd like for them to go to this new school." Can they still do that?
Yes, ma'am. There's a committee,
Okay.
the transfer committee, that they have to go
That they could
through.
then do that. In
Yes.
other words, this makes it prohibitive for a school to say, "I'm sorry you've moved, you have to leave our school."
Correct.
Okay,
It ultimately has to go through the committee.
okay.
And you have criteria set up to determine whether that student should be allowed to do that or not?
Yes, sir. It's in the transfer policy itself.
I'm not trying to throw rocks on the road, but if somebody transferred from another school, verge of a failing, basically hold back, then they register here, how would you deal with that?
Define, because we have two kinds of transfers. Which one are you talking about? You're talking about outside of the city into Nacogdoches, or within the city of Nacogdoches, moving from one school to another?
One school to another, not intra,
Okay.
outside.
Outside, coming from like one of our outside community
That's-
school districts
yes,
and coming in? Okay. That gives you, I just wanted to clarify that before you answer that.
So if we receive a student and we accept their transfer from, say, an outside district and they come in, they're ours for the year, okay? No matter what. they have to reapply each year for a new transfer. That's when they may or may not be denied after this. But once they're here they show up the first day, we've accepted them, they're here for the remainder of the year as far as we're concerned. If they choose to leave at that point, that's up to them.
Thank you, sir. Now, Technology Department relocation project, Mr. Martin.
Thank you, President Nerman, Board. Dr. Trujillo, on May the 9th, 2024, the district accepted TIPS proposals for the data center relocation project at the old Student Services Support Building on Fredonia Street. The project includes the renovation of a portion of the building into a new district server room with the relocation of the main server and associated generator backup system. The project entails the upgrading of the electrical service to the building from 200 to 400 amps, three-phase, HVAC systems for the server room, fiber communication service, and an upgrade to the existing garage area for technology work area. The project was procured through TIPS with the local vendor contractor being Stephen Martin of Martin Construction. They are also using local and previous contractors from the different portions of the work. We'll break down the cost of this project. Martin Construction is $141,250. Martin Construction to remove interior paneling and new drywall with paint is $1,800. Interior renovation, selected parts of the building, $20,000. Access control and hardware, $10,000. Rekeying of the building, $9,000. CDWG hardware is $50,850. Absolute Technology is $72,780. A&E design fees are $24,000. And on a contingency in there is $30,000 for a total cost of $359,680 to come out of Capital Maintenance Fund. We have both Mr. Ralph LaRue as well as Mr. Curtis here and Ms. Kirsten Morris if you have any questions regarding this project.
I have a question. First of all, to clarify, this is the building that's on the north side of the bus drive at Fredonia Early Childhood, is that correct?
No, sir.
Okay, where is this building?
This building is our Student Support Services building currently on Fredonia Street. Right by the cable office.
So it's behind Rusk?
Yes, sir, behind Rusk.
Okay. So then my second question is, it talks only about the HVAC for the server room, so that's one room. There's going to be a special air conditioner.
Yes, sir.
What is the status of the air conditioner system HVAC for that entire building? And is it like newer or older, or has it been replaced?
Great question. Mr. LaRue, can you come to the podium, please, sir?
And here you go.
Here we go.
I'll bring the whole team up.
Thank you.
The air conditioning in the building is fine. We just recently replaced those units, air conditioning and heating.
It's just recently replaced. Okay. That sounds good. We don't have to worry about that coming back.
We have technology is here, which is, if you have any technical questions.
I guess I should ask, well, does that mean it'll be down for a certain period of time, and what is the timeline on that?
Good afternoon, board members, President, Dr. Trujillo. We're planning for the first week of July.
Okay.
So school's closed that entire week, or the district is closed that entire week. So we plan to take down the district on Monday, and hopefully by Friday we'll be back in business.
Wow. Okay.
Great question.
I was like, what do I not know? Okay, great.
Any more questions? Thank you. Next item is NISD Security Hardware Project. Mr. Michael Martin again.
Thanks, Coach Nurman. On May 2nd, 2024, the district accepted proposals for the remaining security hardware upgrade efforts in conjunction with the added access control systems across the district. The sites involved include the ninth grade center, Brooks Quinn Jones Elementary, TJR Elementary, and Regay Elementary. The results are attached for your reference. It's noted that the project will include the necessary hardware and power packs that work with the access control systems previously awarded to comply with the updated standard. Okay? So I'll break that down, this project down. Sword, the Sword Company, $115,721. The architect and engineer fees is $5,800, and owner allowance and soft costs, we put in there $12,000 for a total project amount of $133,521. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay. I don't have any question. Anybody has question? Okay, before I go any further, I have asked board questions. Item B, which is first reading local EIE, do you all have any problem to put that on a consent agenda?
No.
No.
Okay. The next would be item C, reading the revised policy FDB. Do you have any problem to put that on a consent agenda?
No.
Okay. No. Technology Department relocations, any concern? We put that on a consent. Okay. And NIST security hardware project, which is Mr. Martin just finished explaining. Can we put that on a consent agenda as well? Okay. With that said, I need a motion to adjourn.
I had something I wanted to say before we adjourn. I wanted to say something to my colleagues that I think it's really important that we recognize the time that people are spending, not only when they're outside at their homes reading the board book, but being here in this place. And we have a very good attendance record as a board. So I want to commend everybody for your sacrifices, not just to prepare yourself, but to actually be present with us and help this body be complete and as functional as possible for the betterment of this district, for our teachers, our employees, and especially for our children and our community. So thank you so much for your efforts.
Well, thank you for your comment, and somehow this is obligation that we have commit ourselves to it, and we have lived up to our own commitment and expectation of other colleagues. Thank you. Now I need a motion for
I move that we adjourn.
Ms. Winslow.
Second.
Okay. We adjourn.
Okay.